All right. So for some of you, I don't know you, which is a really big treat for me. So I'll do a little introduction of myself and then start teaching the class. I'll go into screen share so that you might want to go ahead and just mute yourself, since we have a fairly large group and we might have a couple more people join us. So my name is Cindy Mattingly. I have been doing energy work and animals and humans for 40 plus some odd years. I live in Salem, New Hampshire. And the way it all evolved is I was raised on a farm in Kentucky. And needless to say, the animals teach you. And all of you know that. They teach you whether you're ready or you want to learn. That's the key. And then, you know, because I'm an occupational therapist and I did body work and then started doing energy work, my clients asked me if I wouldn't mind stopping by or seeing their animal. So-and-so had a problem with this. I'm like, oh, that sounds like lymphatic. I could stop by, show you how to do that, 5 minutes. And then it just got too much. So I do all my animal work distant. And the animals don't have any problem with it. It's usually the human who goes, how's that work? So that's part of the reason why I started doing Magic Mondays, is because all of us are living in more of a virtual world because of the way the whole planet is coping with the pandemic. So I thought, well, I'll have fun. I'll see lots of people's faces and we'll have a chance to chit chat about our favorite topic, animals or energy, and hopefully learn something, which is always my goal. So tonight we're going to be talking about how do you read the energy of your animal companion. And for those who've not been on this call before, the way I do it is I'll do a screen share. You might want to take some notes. I'll leave plenty of time for the questions and answers and things of that sort. And some of you are aware of it, some of you are not, but because of energy, that's what I'm blaming it on. I don't always get my recordings. There were, one had 6 recordings, things like that. So what I've done is between my husband, who's my IT person, and my social media person, we're going to put all of the Magic Mondays on YouTube. So when that happens, you'll get a notification, and that's where the recording will go. It can hold it as well, Zoom only can hold so much. Anyway, that way it can just be there for forever. And then now that that's finally gotten decided, I can send the handout within 24 hours of our Zoom. There were so many details going on. I was like, okay, I can't keep all these balls in the air, but I will figure out a way, and I think we have a way. Now both of them are starting to help me to implement it. So send good mojo my way so that I can help the 2 of them and guide them. So, all righty. Let's see. Screen share. We're going to go here. Okay. So we're talking about reading the energy of your animal companion. So this first paragraph is straight off of my website, but it really captures this month of animal energy work. So I'm just going to read it and break it down, and so that it helps explain what we're going to do in our time together. So animal communication is about listening, very important word, on an energetic level. And I'm going to talk more about what that energetic level is. And what is your pet's behavior telling you? And we did that, I think, on the very first one, I think on the 13th. We talked about what is my animal companion trying to tell me. So some of the things that are on this, I borrowed from that class because it's like we're going to take that a little deeper. When I treat animals, all I really do is listen. I listen and then I share what I see, what I hear, what I feel. And so in this class, we're going to really talk about what that word listening means and how to employ listening in your own world. Because once you learn how to pick up on their energy and what they're trying to tell you, and then you can then put all this information together so you can make better decisions on their care. Because that's ultimately what all of us are wanting to do, is to have them have a happy life, you have a happy life with them, and that there's this mutual bonding that we all love and adore our animals. But how do you know you're doing what they need or want, and so how do you read that? So let's start at the very first one that says listening. And we had a nice discussion around this on the 13th, is are you clear? How can you hear what they're saying, see what they're saying, if you're all mucked up inside? You've not drank enough water, you're eating poorly, you're not getting any exercise, your sleep is poor. If you're not clear, it's like trying to comb your hair when the mirror has that condensation. I think that was the example I used before. You need to clear that up for you to be able to do something effectively. So you want to really examine the question. And one of the most common things that I see in clients is they're not taking care of themselves, and yet they want me, when I'm working with their animal, this is too literal, but it's like fix them. And I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. How do you expect them to do it if you're not doing it? Because it's all energy. And, it's kind of, I always tease them because I tell them that the animal pushed them under the bus. So they're telling me, you're not taking care of yourself, you're not doing this, So you want to really pay attention to that for you to be able to read anyone's energy, but especially your animal. The other part of listening is how you, the human, is listening. So in the Cindy world, intuition is 6 categories. And I talked about this way back when in almost one of the first Magic Mondays. I talked about what intuition was. But 5 of the 6 are your senses. And the other 6th one is basically a collective of these senses. So you have your clairvoyance, everybody wants to see. You have clairaudience, hearing. And then you have clairalience, which is smelling. Clairgustience is taste. And then touch, clairsentient, these are all the empaths. And then claircognizance, you know what you know because you just know it, not because you got taught or any of those things. So those are all the intuition aspects of listening. And I think last time we talked about what's your superpower in the last Magic Monday. And the superpower to me is, what is one of your gifts? And maybe, so for me, I am very clairaudient. People can be talking and I already hear what's underneath the sentence that they used. And it's usually that whatever they told me is either they took out the emotion, and there's emotion, or they took out the truth. And so it's got static under it. So you want to pay attention to what is yours. So think about, am I clear? And then me being clear, how am I going to listen clearly using my superpower or your intuition that is the loudest? That's a really important question to ask yourself, because you have to be a clear human to be able to take your stuff and set it over to the side so you can easily listen and read what's going on with the animal. We also talked a lot about this in the last couple of times, is the human animal relationship, and we have to be really aware of humanizing them because they don't think like us. Their energy system is different. Are they similar? Sure, but they don't think like us. Their karma is different. So we want to be really mindful that a horse thinks very differently than a dog. And one of the basic foundations is one is prey and the other one's a predator. And those are definitely two different mindsets. So being aware of what are you expecting out of the animal, and then is it a human expectation or is it appropriate to the species that you have in your home? So this will help you to be more open when you're reading and listening to the energy of the animal. Okay. Now the third one is, what energy are you interacting with? So the two key words in the title is read and energy. So we're going to start with what energy? What are we talking about? So what I tried to do is break it down the way, this is again, the way I think. Doesn't mean it's the right way. It just means this is the way I think when I'm working with people and their energy. Everything is energy. This physical body, it's all energy, just vibrating at a different frequency than what's out here in my field. So everything is energy. Every atom has an energy field. Well, we know that. You could just Google image of atom and energy field. And that pops this image of these little things running around, and then it has this kind of misty thing around it. Okay, that's an atom. And then what I put down here is you take two atoms and you put them together, and now you have a molecule. And then you put a couple of molecules together, and then it forms tissue. And then from there, it goes tissue to organs, and organs go into systems. And then you have an entire body, and all of that, each time we added something, the field is still shared. All those energy fields overlapped it. So and this is the way I explain many times to clients how this all works, is this idea of no one questions that an atom has an energy field. And if we're 70 billion atoms or cells or something like that, I would imagine that would have lots of 70 billion shared energy fields to create whatever this is around each one of us. So it's kind of hard because we can't see it, to really believe it. But if you can create a reading that gives information that is pertinent and you listened well, then people start paying attention. You start paying attention. I think I shared one of my cats had to have some teeth removed, and she had to have the painkiller. And I just showed a picture in my mind, because they think in picture she's a cat, her laying down and me giving her her medicine. And I looked at her, I showed the image in my mind, and she laid down and I gave her her medicine. I thought, this is wild. I mean, it's pretty cool when it happens with me, and I can imagine me telling you that story. You go, oh yeah, but it does happen when you communicate well, their behavior shows you. So the energy you're interacting with when you want to read what's happening, it's like, where are you reading? So in the case of Joy, my cat, I'm reading her whole system, her whole body. I'm showing her a picture of everything, so that I know exactly where I am when I show her the picture. But if you're wanting to know why your cat, dog, horse has a bellyache, what kind of image, what kind of, can you show them? Where are you? Do you show them a picture of their whole body? Do you show them a picture of the stomach? What image are you thinking about? So you want the energy of your reading, if you will, the energy will follow the thought. If you're like, I don't know where I want to be, I don't know where I want to do this, well, are you going to be able to interact with the energy? Are you going to match it and get where you want to go? Because your intention needs to match. So one of the things that I will do, because I want my intention to be clear, is I want to find the root cause of what's going on. So that's one of my energy follows thought. So if someone says, why is my dog, cat, or horse, or bird, or whoever it is, afraid of storms? That might be what my intention is. Because energy does follow thought, I might start there. I'm looking for the root cause of that. And I don't have any preconceived ideas. And that's always good, because usually the animal knows what's happening and the human is the one that it's kind of going right over their head. So it's a fascinating idea. But when you, so like I said, read and energy are the two words. And we're talking about what's in the energy. Where are you heading for, with your intention and your thought? And what are you trying to read? Do you already have a preconceived idea? Because if you do, the animal's going to throw you off. Because they're not in the same, they're not thinking. They are just in the moment. So that's kind of the idea of the energy. You want to be really clear about where you are in their energy field, in their physical body. Is there something specific? Are you looking for an emotion? Are you looking for a certain behavior? What's going on? So that's the first part that you want to ask the question of. And then the last part of it is about the actual reading, the word reading. Because if anybody's ever gotten a psychic reading or an intuitive reading, those are just words to describe something that each person who does that, psychic or intuitive or any of those things, they're using all of the same things that I just talked about. They're making sure they're clear. They're using what parts of their intuition that they have, and they know everything is energy. So when they go in, they have no preconceived idea, because then that means they're wide open to get whatever the answer is. So that's what a reading is it's data collection. If you are like, oh, I'm going to do this, but, so I treat my cats every week, and I'm always surprised because I treat them just like a client. I sign them up, I turn on my, because it's a 15-minute session, I turn on my phone and put my timer on, and then I start dowsing through their system. Okay, where would you like attention today? So that I can be really clear about the energy that I'm interacting with. And then I have a list of modalities and things to find out if they're wanting a modality. So then I'm being really clear about the energy follows thought and my intention. So I've data collected too. I've done an energy analysis of their field. I know that if there's a physical problem going on, I'm looking for the root cause of that. And then the key piece here is in the interpretation. So how do you interpret all the pieces of information that you got? So I'm going to walk you through the session that I did today on my cat, Rose. So am I clear? Yes, I sat down. I usually meditate every morning, and then that's when I sit down and go to work, if you will. So I was clear and I was ready, and my strongest intuition is clairaudient, so I hear the answer. My relationship is really clear that I'm the human and they are the animals, and they communicate however these cats do. And then my question to her was, why are you yowling? So she will eat, and then she goes up to the second floor and just meows really loudly. And so what I started dowsing was that she has like a form of gastritis. All right. So then I asked, is there anything that I know? So again, I'm looking for, am I supposed to help her, or do I need to take her to the vet? What is that? So here I'm still in collecting the energy, collecting the data. Do I need to take her to the vet? No. Is there anything that I know? Yes. And then I douse through my list, and then there you go. Oh, this is what she wants. She wants an energy clearing. Okay, great. And then she wanted, it's called a 2-point technique. It's quantum physics. So you hold a point and of course she's not in here. I'm just doing this on an energy. I'm holding a point near her, what's really where her stomach is in her physical body, but I'm holding it near her back. And then in the second point, I'm collapsing the wave of the pattern of pain and discomfort, just to see if something took that out of balance. And so I did a 2-point technique on her. And she had been hollering. I could hear her. It was early in the morning, and she stopped. So I'm dowsing. Is this complete? Yes. And she's been quiet all day. I'm like, okay, this is wicked cool. So my interpretation of all of that is I collected the data, and then I interpreted it accurately because her behavior changed. So that gives you kind of an idea of what, at least this is in Cindy's world, what reading the energy means. Is I'm looking at myself, I'm looking at my relationship with the animal, I'm looking at where in the energy field do I want to go, and then a reading is collecting the data, the different ways I can, and then interpreting it. And if I did it right, behavior changes. So what I'd like to do now is I'll stop the share and see if you have questions. I know that was a lot of information in a very short period of time, but you can unmute yourself or.
I think what I find is I have a hard time going into it without preconceived ideas. How do you kind of, empty out what you think might be going on to listen better?
Mm-hmm. The mind gets in the way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it's funny, I have a 6-year-old client who's crazy psychic. And that's what he asked me. How can my mind not get in the way? I was like, wow. But part of that idea is that the mind is very useful, but the mind should not drive the bus. And that's what so many times, when they do research and they already have a preconceived idea of the outcome, we know what the outcome's going to be, then it's really not a very good research paper.
Yeah.
So we know that. And the key piece is you don't know. So I always think of it as being curious. One of my teachers in craniosacral, he said, pretend you're taking the person, the whatever, out to tea, coffee, and you're getting to know them. Pretending that you don't know them. I thought that was a great idea. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the ways where if I start having an assumption, I'm like, okay, you can go sit over here in the waiting room because I really want to get what really is true. Okay. But it's truly meditation, mind training, and being able to know which is your critical mind and which is intuition. And they feel very different when I'm, vibrationally. Mm. Critical mind usually is passing judgment. Mm. It has that kind of energy. Whereas intuition has this sense of, you can't really argue with it because it's just right. You might not like it, but it's kind of like what it is. But it does take lots of practice. I have probably been meditating, 45 years. And I still argue with my mind. Right? I mean, we do all these things to cultivate a smart person, but that's a lot of mind. And so we have to really be able to separate emotion, mind, where's intellect, where's wisdom, and all of those are in different, I guess, spots or places. Mm. Yeah. And then you have, an animal who's probably, I'm going to say this, my cats are smarter than I am. And that is just not right. Right? It's like, I don't like it that you're smarter than me. So I don't know if that was helpful.
Yeah, thank you.
You're very welcome.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
The meditation that you do before you work with animals, is it a guided meditation? Or can you tell me what type of meditation that you're doing?
Sure. So like I said, I've been meditating for 45 years and I am a very curious person.
Okay.
So I have probably tried every type of meditation pretty close on the planet, I would think, because of my curiosity. So what I would do is I've done shamanic training. So I've done journeying, and I will use that many times if I can't figure things out. It's a different way to open up my mind and to invite my intuition in. I also, I have as you see in my background, I have a tonka. I have a teacher. I do a lot of Tibetan chanting. Chanting is very good, especially when it's in another language, to quiet the mind, because the mind doesn't know what to do with it. My mind is English, was raised English, and here I am Tibetan chanting. The mind's like, well, I can't argue with her. because I don't understand the language. So I try different things. Some of them are guided. There's a great, it is called Insight Timer. It's a free app that you can get on your phone. They have podcasts, guided meditations, music. That's very useful. You know, so I do a bunch of different things. I have readings that I do. Like right now is Mark Nepo, Nepo, the Book of Awakening. He has a daily thing that, you know, daily inspiration, if you will, his stories. And then I do that, and then I sit quietly with Insight Timer, and I set the number of minutes that I just want to be quiet.
Mhm.
And no entertainment,
Okay.
except my mind.
Okay.
So there's a lot of different ways, and then sometimes they don't work, so I try something else. I do a walking meditation. Because if my mind is too busy, then I won't be quiet to be able to hear whether it's an animal or a human. And I need to be able to do that. Plus, I don't want to be using my own energy. I want to be just present, listening to what's going on with them. I don't know if that helps at all.
It does. It does. Thank you.
Yeah, I would just encourage you to be curious and try all kinds of things until you find that place that when you're done with meditation, you feel quiet.
Okay.
And that, you know, it's taken many years for me to find that. And I don't let anything interrupt I feed my cats so that they're quiet, and then I go and meditate. It's very early in the morning.
Okay. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Anybody else?
Could you elaborate a little bit about the 2 points technique, please? Is that part of Reiki or other healing?
Oh, no. I'm trying to think. Dr. Bartlett wrote a book called, I think it's called Energetic Matrix.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a pretty popular thing for a while. And then it's gotten very quiet. But I read his book, and I thought that was a really interesting quantum idea, where I could find this place on this energetic hologram, because I work on holograms. That's how I do distant work. And then I find the place where the heat is, or the pain, or I feel in my own body a reaction. And then I find the point. You know, I just keep looking for the point. And then when I feel, it feels just like hard taffy initially, and then it eventually just gets kind of like I'm definitely connected to something. And then his whole theory is that you should be able to just drop it. That's his.
Both at once?
Yes, like you're dropping a pebble in water.
Mm-hmm.
Because what you're doing is you're basically creating a wave with these 2 points, and then you're collapsing that field that you just connected. And you're using the field. I mean, he says this a lot. You can look him up on YouTube too. I think he has a lot of YouTubes, but it was, I think somebody just got dropped out. Let me see if that. Yeah, he's a very interesting, but it's a quantum physics thing about collapsing a field.
Mm-hmm.
And so sometimes it doesn't show up very often, but when it does, I mean, it was pretty. I did it twice, and Rose stopped. I was like, I get pretty intrigued by it. I'm like, that's really interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Yeah. Anybody else? Any other questions? You guys are all ready to just like, read your cats and your dogs.
I do have a question.
Sure.
Well, I'm just wondering, do you have formal animal Reiki training, or do you use that in how you work with your cats?
Well, I use Reiki a lot, so yes.
Okay.
And it's on my Dowsing check sheet. So I have a list of all the different modalities that I know and I can use. And I just go down and find the one that matches up with that. And I douse it. That's the way I do the check. Or you can muscle test it, whatever works for you. But that's what I do. I have a long list.
Okay.
And
Okay.
and then animal Reiki wise, the program that I was doing before the pandemic showed up is that a person would take Reiki 1 and Reiki 2, and then you would take the animal Reiki class, and then we would go to a farm.
Oh, I see. And I'm in Minnesota, so I don't know if that would.
Well, and it's very funny because it must be in the air, because I had someone today ask me if I could go over the animal energy program with her and see if there was any way to do it distant.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so I was like, so here's another person asking me, because I have a client of mine who wants me to teach Reiki 1 and Reiki 2 online. And that's for everybody. It doesn't matter human or animal.
Okay, and I've taken 1 and 2.
Oh,
and I am very interested in learning specifically for animals. So is that something that you'd ever offer, or?
Well, that was what I was going to talk to her about, but it sounds like I already have 2 people.
Well, right.
That's right. So email me after class and remind me, okay? And then that way I can start working on whatever the universe is asking me to do.
Yeah, right.
Animals
I
are.
would be interested too. This is Tracy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, email me too, because I'm not going to. Just email me, because you guys are little squares in front of me.
Right.
Even though I recognize some of your faces, I can't promise that it's going to stick up here.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So
I have another question too. Is this presentation going to be recorded to view at a later time? Only because I'm working and trying to listen at the same time, and it's not working out too well, but I didn't want to miss your.
Oh, bless you. I think you were one of the people that must have emailed this morning, right?
Yes.
I didn't have a chance. All I could do was get your email, put it into the link, and I was like, oh, I'm going to have to come back to her. But what I said at the beginning of the call was I've been having problems, probably my own energetic, it's with the recordings. So what I've done with my husband, who's my IT person, and my social media person, we're going to get them on YouTube.
Oh, wonderful. Good.
So you can, she's supposed to start this week. I think, anyway, all of those details, but hopefully now, because that's all settled, or at least moving in the right direction, then I can send out these outlines within 24 hours of the class itself, because that hasn't been happening. It's been a little chaotic, but yes, just send me an email telling me what you're looking for. And it sounds like we might have a little class, and then maybe, just like everything is, if you're paying attention and maybe we find some kind of way to have you do homework so that I can say, oh yes, this person has basic animal Reiki skills. Because I just want to make sure that I'm saying the right things and I'm telling the public the right things, and that you're going out knowing what you do know. So I'm so excited. The universe is showing up. Pop. That makes me very happy. The animals will all benefit, right?
Yes.
Very cool. Any other questions?
Yes, Sydney, do you need a picture of the animal, or do you need to see it in a video or something, or when you do distance?
So I'm going to be doing Magic Monday, I think in a couple of weeks on how's distance session possible. And in that session, I'm going to talk about the 4 different ways that I use to connect and do distant work, because everybody's different. And if you already have Reiki, well, great. What I'm going to recommend is this. And yes, a picture is better than anything. And then you're going to connect using the symbol. But there's a tweak that I added to what I teach, because shamanically, so this is part of my training, I wanted it to be the energy connection and disconnection to be really clear. And that was one of my concerns. When people connect with animals, they forget about those energetic rules, if you will, hygiene. So I am going to be talking about that in a couple of months, but that's a great question. It's like, how do you connect with energy and then not pick it up and bring it back with you?
Yes, so you disconnect from the animal energy differently than the human energy if you do distance?
So the system is the same.
Okay.
It's basically, you need to wash your hands.
Mm-hmm.
And the way you wash your hands is exactly the same no matter where you go, no matter what you do. It's all about energetic hygiene.
Yes, yes.
And just being smart. And if you understand, most of the time that just immediately goes into a habit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, that makes so much sense. And you do whatever it is.
Okay.
Right?
And in the same session, you're going to cover if the owner of the animal has to do anything after the session?
You mean in the distance session?
Yeah, in the distance, yeah.
So in the distance sessions, they've done some way to help me connect with the client, the animal.
Mm-hmm.
And then I usually send either a text or an email, which is a summary. I mean, I do that every time. And then if they have questions or other concerns, then I might call them, or we might email back and forth just to see, because for instance, I had a client who was humanizing the emotions that the animals were telling me, and so I had to say, no, this is actually not this animal's emotion. They don't feel this.
Mm-hmm.
This is your energy. And they're absorbing it because they want harmony in the house. Mm. And it just kind of blew her away. She just had no idea about that. I was like, you're the emotional center of their universe. And they may have an opinion. You know about opinions, don't you, Angelique? She has a very strong opinionated cat. So it's that kind of stuff where not humanizing it, but just allowing them to have the personality that they have. And sometimes they do have to do something. And sometimes it's really about their realization. The animal just wants them to wake up.
I see.
Yeah. Well, you do a lot of energy work, sometimes people are clueless. We all do. We all have our blind spots, right?
Yes. Yes. Thank you.
Well, maybe we don't. This group here, none of us have blind spots, right?
Yeah.
Oh, great questions. Anybody else?
Hi.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Hi, everyone. Hi. I have a question.
Sure.
Yeah. How do you really know what your superpower is? How do you really discover it?
So everyone. So if you're looking at your superpower or your intuition.
Yes.
So like for me, it was a discovery. I do energy work and body work, and I'm working with a client. And my very first time was I heard like and I do it like that. I heard it like it was somebody whispering in my ear, put a blanket on their feet. Their feet are cold. And I'm like, what was that? Okay. So again, I'm being curious. I'm just kind of going the flow. I go put a blanket on there, and the client says to me, how'd you know? I was getting ready to ask you for that. So instead of me judging that, I started paying attention. So it's the same thing. Clairvoyance is seeing not only with your physical eyes, but also with your third eye, and just paying attention to what you see, whether it's that way or maybe in dreams or in meditation, you get an image. That's all clairvoyance. I get a lot of those. So I pay attention, but I don't necessarily go, oh, I don't know how to interpret that all the time. My husband is really clairgustient, which is clear taste. He can take a bite of something at a restaurant and break it down to its individual ingredients. I'm just like, or he'll smell it and he'll go, oh, that has cloves in it. I'm like, it does? I'm like trying to find, I don't smell any cloves. So, you know, like he has those kinds of things that I'm pretty sensitive. You just pay attention. Clairsentient is the empaths. So that's the people who, if I'm treating somebody and all of a sudden I get a headache, usually the client came in with the headache. I'm not supposed to take it on. So I dismiss that energy and I just watch those kinds of things. I connect with an animal and I immediately feel sick at my stomach. And I go, okay, what's that about? Oh, wait a minute. They're having me treat this animal because they had surgery yesterday. So then I start asking the animal, is this from the anesthesia? Yes or no? Is this, I'm reading the energy. Is it from that anesthesia? Is it on the pain meds? And the answer was yes to both of them. Well, I can do something about the anesthesia. I can remove the signature of that energy signature. But then I'm going to, I can't do anything about their, well, I can do a little bit with their pain meds, but what I did instead, that was the highest good, so I dowsed it, is I recommended to the owner to go get some arnica, and she started using ice. So by the time 24 hours had gone by, the dog was no longer nauseated because we had removed the anesthesia. The pain meds were managing the pain, so she wasn't being stressed. The ice was working, the arnica was working. So it's like I was paying attention to that clairsentient experience. And then the claircognizance, which is number 6, is you know what you know because you know it. Mm-hmm. And that may be, you know, there are times when I connect with somebody and I feel like, okay, I need to talk to the owner. Something very serious is going on here. And I'll pick up the phone and I'll call them. And then I find out that, you know, there is a life and death situation going on. And I just listen to that. I don't know why I know it, but it's like every sense in my system is going, call her, call her, call her, call her, you know. So it's paying attention, listening at a very deep level. But that's a good question.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Any other questions? We got a couple more minutes.
Hi,
hey, Carrie. Hey, sweet.
Hi. So just a kind of a clarifying question for me. When you say you're, and it's great to have the example of Rose. So when you sat down with Rose and you were trying to find out why is she meowing after she eats. So you said you connected in with her. Now you're asking her, and I want to know what you mean by when you're asking. Do you mean you're actually kind of calling her in, like you're connecting with her consciousness there? Or are you asking and then using your dowser to kind of like connect in, like the asking is the connecting in piece? Does that make sense?
So yes, that's a great.
Are you really engaging her where she's actually saying, hey, it's gastritis? And then you're saying, okay, does that ring true? Or
no,
she not engaged in that way and you're scanning, like the asking is, I'm now in your system. I'm asking your system.
Yeah. So she's not with me physically,
Right.
so I'm doing an energetic thing.
Right.
And so I'm more than likely, because I usually do hologram, and I'll talk about what that is. So I have a complete energetic bubble of her. And so when I say I ask, I'm asking, I'm down here at the energy follows thought. I would like the root cause. So I'm setting the intention of the session, the root cause of the yelling. And from there, the intention of that is, oh, I can see the glowing around her abdomen. Okay, so I'm going to be working there. I don't know what that image means. I'm just following the energetic trail. So then once I'm at her abdomen, I ask her energetically. So the animals think in pictures. So my image in my mind, as I'm verbally asking her, because I'm wanting to give it lots of energy, image as well as the vibration of my words, I say to her, what's going on here? Yeah, so the combination energetically is first the image of, oh, okay, she's showing me this. Okay, got it.
She's showing you this.
Yeah, on the hologram,
Mm-hmm.
right? So the energy is glowing for me clairvoyantly. I'm reading that. Okay, something going on with that. All right. And now I'm going to give it extra energy by the thought of what's going on. You know, and so I may not hear anything. I may not see anything. I may not. So then, just like the 2-point thing that I'm like, you know how you can pick up your phone and you can make the picture bigger? That's basically what I'm doing. Okay, well, we got to make this picture bigger. So again, my intention is I need to have this picture bigger. And so that's basically what I'm doing. I'm making it bigger because she's showing me what it is, but I wanted to see more. And, you know, because of the anatomy background that I have, oh, it's right there, you know, at about T7, 8, 9. Okay, that's your upper part of the stomach. Okay. So, you know, I'm like walking through it. All right. So if I do this 2-point thing, now I'm dowsing modalities.
Yeah, I get that part. Yeah.
So I'm doing a bunch of different things and following the trail until I get an answer that then I might pick up my dowser if I'm not clear, pick up my dowser and go, okay, is this the right answer? Am I on the right trail? Am I listening? Am I listening? Am I clear? And of course, you know, Rose is the alpha of my 5, and she will tell me no. If the answer is no. Yeah. That was a great question, Karen. Great. Anybody else?
Okay, thanks.
You are very welcome. Well, thank you, everybody. And if you have anything else in the animal world you would like me to do with these little Magic Mondays, next month I've already got things lined up. And they're more for the human world, even though they're transferable as far as I'm concerned. That would be August. So September, if you have thoughts or questions or something else you'd be curious about, let me know. I have my own list, but I don't know if that necessarily means that that's, you know.
Can I just ask you a quick question?
Sure.
I have a cat who has some issues. He's 16 and it's very hard to get a vet appointment now. He's been, but it's, I don't know what's wrong, and my vet can't just determine what's wrong with them because he doesn't do well when he goes to the vet.
Uh-huh.
And I just,
Yeah.
is there something that you read pets, you say?
Yes. So, you know, if you're interested in me doing kind of that kind of exploratory session, you just email me. And basically what I do is I just start asking the cat, you know, or the animal, whoever they are, just to see, oh, okay, this is what's going on. And then I would take all these notes and send that to you in an email. And if you had any questions, and it would be 15 minutes. Because they're not like us humans, right? We need time to relax. We need a comfy table. We need music. They're like
Very
knocking
chatty.
on. Huh?
He's very chatty. He likes to chat quite a bit.
It's very funny because they will share quite many times. They're knocking on the door, the energetic door, very quickly. But that would be something a lot of people use me for, is checking it out and seeing if I can give you that information. Okay.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. All right. Well, it was fun.
Thanks.
Bye, guys. Tips
Bye.
next time, right?
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye, everybody. Thank you, Sydney.
You're very welcome. See you soon.
Thank you. Everybody have a good day.
You too.
Yeah, you too.